everyone, and welcome back to another episode of FPL Fan Zone. And the Premier League have dropped an absolute bombshell on us 24 hours before the game week deadline. They've announced a new double game week for game week 25. So the EFL or the League Cup final games will be played in game week 25. Now there's some caveats to that as well, so we're going to break down what that looks like in the team. But yeah, it's caused mayhem. Everyone's having to look at their new different strategies. Now we've got double game weeks back to back. That changes how we can potentially use our chips and adds a lot more value now to something like the assistant manager chip, which I hadn't planned for, I haven't got budget for. So we're going to have a look through some of your common questions and look at some of the options if you're looking potentially change your chip strategy at the last minute. So I woke up in the middle of the night and saw an announcement that the double game week 25 had been announced, and as many of the content creators out there, I'd like to say a big thank you to FPL Focal, who has created this actually nice and easy to read slide that shows the changes that are coming for game week 25. So what the Premier League have announced is that the League Cup final games that are scheduled to be played in game week 29 will now be played in game week 25. So at the moment, we still don't know who's in the League Cup final. So as it stands, Tottenham are 1-0 up against Liverpool in the first leg of the semi-final, and Newcastle are 2-0 up against Arsenal in the first leg of their semi-final. Now, interestingly enough, if Newcastle go through, they don't double in game week 25. Don't know why that is, maybe because they're not involved in European fixtures, so therefore they can play their double later on. But if Liverpool, Arsenal or Tottenham go through, then they will have their fixture that's normally in game week 29 be moved to game week 25 and therefore removed from game week 29. So here are some of the options here. So for example, if Liverpool overturn their deficit against Tottenham, and the bookies have that as a 62% chance that Liverpool go through to the final, then Liverpool in game week 25 will play Wolves at home and then Aston Villa away. So the Aston Villa game will be brought forward from game week 29 to game week 25. And in the same, obviously, vein, Aston Villa will have Ipswich at home and Liverpool at home in game week 25. Now, if Spurs continue to win and go through to the final, so they maintain their lead after the first leg, then actually Liverpool don't double in game week 25 and Spurs and Fulham double in game week 25. Now, the bookies have that at a 38% chance. So if Spurs go through to the final, they will double in game week 25 against Manchester United at home, and then their Fulham game is brought forward from game week 29 to the Fulham away. And then Fulham as well would have Nottingham Forest at home and then Tottenham at home. The other one that is impacted is, of course, the Arsenal fixture against Newcastle. Now, Arsenal are currently 2-0 down, and the bookies only have a 16% chance of them overturning that deficit and getting to the final. But if Arsenal do beat Newcastle in the to get to the final, then Arsenal will double in game week 25, as will Chelsea. So Arsenal will have Leicester away and then Chelsea at home, and Chelsea will have Brighton away and Arsenal away. So let's have a look what that means if we're going to start to think about now using the assistant manager's chip, because obviously you've got 2 double game weeks. So you could potentially get 5 games in a 3-week period, which is a huge value given the amount of points that you can get from assistant managers. So we're going to have a quick look at the different combinations. Hey guys, I appreciate this is last minute. Obviously, we're just coming up towards the deadline. If you do like this video, if you did get some value from it, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new around here, and that notification bell if you want updates on videos when they go live, so that you can see any future changes coming up as well. I'll try and keep you up to date as any new news comes out as well for that as well. So here's what the assistant manager chip looks like if we are going to turn it on this week. So in game week 24, Liverpool and Everton both double in game week 24. So Liverpool have Brighton away and Everton away, and Everton have Leicester at home and Liverpool away. Now, bearing in mind, obviously with the assistant manager chip, you do get a table bonus of up to 10 points for a win or 6 points for a draw if the team that they're playing is 5 places above them in the league at the start of that game week. So, for example, Everton would get a table bonus if they were to either get a draw or a win against Liverpool. Now, there is the last Merseyside derby at Everton before they move to their new ground. So there's a lot riding on that game. Everton do have a habit of getting draws against Liverpool. They don't win very often, but that would make a big difference in terms of getting you some extra points on that as well. Now, when we get into game week 25, there are potentially six different teams that could double. So if Liverpool go through, then Liverpool would double and Aston Villa would double. If Arsenal go through, then Arsenal would double and Chelsea would double. And if Tottenham go through, then Tottenham would double and Fulham would double. Now, there is a chance, of course, that if Arsenal go through, there would be 4 managers that doubling that week. So there'd be Arsenal, Chelsea, and then either Liverpool, Villa, or Tottenham, Fulham. So we're having a look there. If you look at the slots, if he gets 2 doubles, that's great. You don't need to make the extra transfer. Arteta, the double has got Leicester, which is a nice fixture, but Chelsea, which is a harder one. You've got Chelsea, which would have Brighton, and then Arsenal, 2 away fixtures, so not particularly great there. You've got Silva, who would have the Nottingham Forest at home, which would include a table bonus if they were to get a draw or win there. And then they've got Tottenham as well, who are obviously having a bit of trouble at the moment in terms of securing any points in the league. So, and then on the other side, you've got Tottenham, who've got Manchester United away. At home, but then Fulham away, and that is also a potential for a table bonus as well. And then lastly, you've got Unai Emery, who has Ipswich at home and Everton Liverpool at home, which would also potentially be a table bonus there as well. So there's options there if you want to go more standard, or if you want to go and sort of chase that table bonus. If you look at going into game week 26, which is obviously then the third week, there are not a lot of good table bonus options. Of course, if you look at the relegation battle teams, they're all playing teams higher up the league, but obviously they don't particularly look like they're going to get those. And so unless you're predicting a major upset, the one that is a little bit interesting is Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Now, currently, Fulham are 5 points, 5 places above Crystal Palace, but obviously you've got to remember that that's in 2 game weeks time, and obviously some teams will have played multiple games by then, so they might not be 5 places. But as it stands now, that Fulham Crystal Palace, if you go for Glasner, for example, there is a table bonus. Outside of that, you go for the likes of Arteta, who's got West Ham at home, Tottenham, who have Ipswich away, or for example Hertzler from Brighton, who have Southampton away, if you just want to secure some steady points. Now, so I put together just my 2 preferred options if I was going to activate the assistant manager chip this week. The first one is the safe route, and this obviously assumes that Liverpool overturn that deficit against Tottenham. The bookies are having them as favourite to go through. So you would have Arne Slot for the first 2 weeks, so because he's got double in game week 24, a double in game week 25, and given that they've only lost 1 game all season in the league, you do expect them to pick up potentially 3 or 4 wins there, and maybe 1 draw in that time. And then you would just switch in game week 26 when Liverpool are playing Man City to someone like Arsenal. It costs 1.5 million, and you just use that and then 1 free transfer to switch from Slot to Arteta in game week 26. Now, if you're chasing rank, or if you like to have a bit more of a punt, there is a more higher upside route which gives you a triple chance at table bonus, but also giving you some good fixtures in there as well. So the way I look at this particular one, if you take Moyes in game week 24, he's 0.5 million, so you don't need to free up as much in your as much money in the bank, but they've got Leicester at home, which they should be expected to win. Everton are in a good run of form since Moyes has come in. They are at home. And then they've got the derby to Liverpool. Now it's a much, much tougher fixture. And of course, Liverpool are predicted to win that game. But if they can get a draw or sneak a win, then the table bonus is there for as an upside there. Almost think of it as a free game and a chance you'll, would be great. And then the same if you go to Aston Villa in game week 25. So use a free transfer. If Liverpool do go through to the final, then Villa would double in game week 25, and here you would have Ipswich at home. So again, you would expect Villa to win that game, so you would get your steady assistant manager points, maybe 8 points for the win, and then you've got the chance of the triple or the table bonus against Liverpool. Again, both of these table bonuses are really tough, right? They're playing the best team in the league at the moment, and arguably the best team in Europe. If you look at the Champions League, they finished top of that table as well. But you can see with both of those games, there is a potential for a bit of a banana skin, for a draw or for a win for either of those two teams to get some table bonus as well. And then lastly, in game week 26, if you want to continue chasing that, you could go up again, spend more money to go up to Arteta if you've got that available in the bank, or you could move to Glasner and then go for a mid-table clash. Crystal Palace are on the rise at the moment. Fulham are a good team, so it's a close one to call. But of course, if Crystal Palace do get the win there, which isn't unheard of, then there is a table bonus there as well. So I particularly like that second option, but obviously it does require Liverpool to go through for the double with Aston Villa. Alternatively, if Tottenham go through, you could move to Marco Silva, and he would have the table bonus against Nottingham Forest, who recently just got heavily defeated by Bournemouth. So Fulham versus Forest would be a good option for a table bonus. The other match is a bit closer, but you would expect Fulham to win that as well. It does require a little bit more money to move up to Silva at 1.1 million as opposed to Emery and Glasner at 0.8 million. So you would need to have the money in the bank in order to be able to make those transfers for you as well. But let me know in the comments below, guys, who are you thinking? Are you switching? Are you changing from triple captain to now assistant manager? Given there's 2 double game weeks back to back, we don't know who they are yet, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to make that final choice. Of course, the other option is to just hold off a week until we know, because we will know who those doubles are by Thursday after the League Cup semi-final replay, second legs have taken place. So there is, of course, that option to hold off, wait a week, continue to, like me, play my triple captain this week, and then just move to the assistant management next week. But let me know. I do like the idea of getting 2 double game weeks in a 3-week period. It just feels like a lot of extra value for your manager. Would you go safe? Would you go for the high upside? Let me know in the comments below. So obviously this has thrown up a lot of questions. A lot of people went early on transfers this week. Like myself, I use free transfers. I have no money in the bank. So these are some of the questions that are coming through from the social medias. If you're tripled up on Liverpool, should you sell one to get slots? Now, I'm tripled up on Liverpool. I don't have any money in the bank, so I would need to at least take a -4. My gut feel is no, you don't need to do that, right? You could keep your triple Liverpool. That you could, obviously they're going to be playing double this week and potential for double in game week 25 as well. But I've broken it down by the different positions. If, for example, you were looking to move Alisson, who is your third, say for example you've got Trent and Salah, and then your third is Alisson, then I would say yes. I'd probably even do that for a -4. Move Alisson off to Pickford so he gets his double, and then you're good to move on there as well. If it's a defender, I'd probably only do it if it was a free transfer. So for example, if you've got Trent and Konate or Trent and Van Dijk, moving Van Dijk or moving Konate, one to either free up funds. You could move them to someone like a Mikalenko who's got the double this week. You've got the option to potentially move to someone like a Robinson who could have the double next week as well. I would potentially move if I had 2 defenders. I feel there's not as much upside given the tough fixtures that Liverpool have across the doubles. If it's a midfielder, of course, other than Salah, then again, same as your defenders really. If you've got a Luis Diaz potentially I would do it, but only for a free transfer. I wouldn't take a -4 there. And then lastly, if you've got Gakpo or Nunes up front, again, only for a free transfer. And again, if you need the money to get to slot. So long and short, no, I think overall, I would just go to Moyes and go for the high upside options. But then, of course, it's up to you if you want to go that safer option. As long as you're doing it for a free transfer, I'm okay with it. I probably wouldn't do it if it was for a hit. If you have no money in the bank, also like me, would you take a -4 to free up the funds so that you could then buy a manager? Now, bearing in mind, obviously, to get your first manager, it's a free transfer to bring them in, so it doesn't cost you it doesn't cost you a transfer to bring your first manager in when you activate the chip. It only costs you a transfer once you change them after you've selected your first manager. So, in my mind, I am going to take a 4-point hit to bring in an assistant manager. On that as well, so I do need to to release up some funds on there. Now you get those funds back at the end of the free game week, so obviously just take into consideration who you're dropping, what fixtures they've got over that 3-week period, and then obviously you'll be able to transfer them straight back in afterwards as well. But obviously the reason I like this as an option is that you're getting 5 game weeks for the price of 3. If you do this anywhere else, in the maximum you'll probably get is 4. We don't know if there's any other surprise double game weeks coming up, but I do feel like there's some options here. There's a couple of nice table bonus, as we discussed in an earlier slide. And then lastly, is triple captain still viable for this week? And yes, so I actually deactivated my triple captain once I found out the news. But yes, Salah as a triple captain this week is still an option. Actually, if he gets doubles next week, it's better for the triple captain. But then, of course, what do you do this week? I think it does impact double game weeks later on down the line. So there may be one later on down the line, which means that there's going to be less options for you to play your triple captain in a double week. And of course, you could just do your triple captain this week and then start your assistant manager next week and still get 4 out of the 3 weeks. So it's still an option, and I think a lot of people will do it because they don't log in or they won't see the news in time that there is a double next week. So a lot of the engaged managers will take advantage of the double, and I think that's a good opportunity for yourself if you want to do that. But again, if you want to use your triple captain this week, I wouldn't be adverse to it. So here's a quick look at my team, and unfortunately, as I said, I went really early in the week on Sunday, I think, because I wanted to catch the price rises. I wanted to bring in Burmo for his good run. I wanted to jump on the Cliver because I felt he was going to be a good option from next week after the Liverpool fixture, but I knew the price rises were going up. So I wouldn't have been able to afford either of those moves because both Mykolenko and Bremo and Clivert have all gone up 0.1 this week. So I've actually made 0.3 in my squad value. But obviously now with the news coming so late in the week, I have no free transfers and I've got no budget to actually buy an assistant manager. So originally I was going to triple captain Salah, worry about freeing up budget later on in the season for my assistant manager. Obviously now with the situation changed and 2 double game weeks back to back, I want to take advantage of that with the assistant manager. So I need to now look at downgrading a player somewhere, whether I go for the safe route with Slot, and my gut feel there is I would downgrade Trent. I think there's more upside with Gakpo, given the attacking nature of the fixtures, than Trent at the moment. Or if I go down the Moyes and that high upside route, then either downgrade Isak or Wood, just because I don't think there's a lot of money to lose in that midfield or the defence elsewhere. So I will talk about that a little bit more in my final thoughts video, which I will update and release as well today. But yes, that's where I'm at the moment. I've got no free transfers. I've got no money in the bank, but I desperately now want to bring in a manager, and I now have to make that choice of which player am I going to let go for the next 3 weeks so I can have those assistant managers in. Let me know in the comments below. Are you convinced? Are you going to stick with your current strategy? Are you going to change last minute? Let me know in the comments below. So thanks very much. I know that's a massive data overload in terms of the options available, and there are so many variables, especially as we don't know who is officially doubling in game week 25, whether it's 2 teams, whether it's 4 teams that are doubling in game week 25, and obviously there's potential 6. So it could be 2 or 4 of those 6 that are coming up. We don't know yet if Newcastle go through, when their double will be. We predict that likely to be game week 33, but then we thought all of these would be game week 33. So let me know in the comments below. Hope you have a good game week and this hasn't completely thrown you off. Let me ask any questions you have. I'll respond to them as quickly as I can before the deadline. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you're new around here, and notification for any upcoming videos. Thanks again, and may all your arrows be green.